Welcome, everyone. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey here. It is 8:15. We're jumping on the digital platforms to talk more about our round of snow showers coming in tonight. As you're logging on here, make sure you let me know in the comments where you're watching from. We'll start, like always, with some shout-outs to some folks. If you have any questions about anything, we'll take a look at that, and we'll be talking about the chance for snow in areas that did not get it. And we also will talk about some freezing fog that may form tonight for a spot. So here's what we'll take a look at and get things started. Some housekeeping notes first is we do want you to download that WCIA3 weather app. You can get the forecast 24/7 on that. We're streaming to the app right now, but we also are joining many of you on Facebook and on Periscope as well as on YouTube. This, though, will give you the alerts if there's one issued in the area for your county. You can program it for that to find out all this great information and take care of things as far as it goes. So a great way to connect with the team here as far as it goes. Download that app. Before we get started, lots of folks checking on in here, and we will do so. We've got Brian checking in from Cerro Gordo. Hey, Brian. Bernie asking, don't they give you any time off? I'm in my test phase right now. The Chief's on vacation right now. Amelia is on vacation. Jack is in, but we are all talking and texting. My job's on the weekends, and I fill in some of that holiday time. So no problems there. Everyone's still working behind the scenes to get things going. Hey, Nikki, up in Gibson City. We've got Tolono checking in. Bonnie there. We'll give a few more. Loda, Hope checking in. Tammy from Sibley. We've got Andrea from Mattoon. Dave, send it all to Urbana. And then Peggy from Bloomington. One more. We'll catch up here. How about Donna? Donna from Hoopston. All right, again, I'll be checking those comments and whatnot as we're getting logged on here. Again, I hope you'll take time to like my Facebook page when this is over. We can connect there. When the weather's not active, we have lots of fun, but we also keep the information coming through all of our weather teams' pages. Amelia's, Jack's, Kevin's, and myself, and then, of course, the news page, which many of you are connecting on. I do want to give you a public service announcement also. I saw this. Someone shared this with me on Facebook. I think this is too good. A reminder when there's snow and ice in the roadways, Baby Yoda, no zoomy zoom on the slicky slick, or you go boomy boom in the ditchy ditch and have to wait for a toey toe in the cold, snowy snow. Great public service announcement as far as things go. Yes, just a reminder, slow down on those roads if you do come across some snow-covered areas tonight as far as things go. All right, let's jump down to business. Lots of you are also mentioning in those comments that you have some ice on the trees, and that's going to be important for the forecast moving forth. You'll want to pay attention if that's the case, especially areas that have those higher ice amounts on there. Here's what we're looking at right now. As expected, some light snow showers starting to develop to the north and west of Springfield and Cass and Morgan County. That'd be from Virginia, Ashland, down towards Jacksonville. They will continue to fill on in. They're very light in nature. We've had some drizzle through the day today. Our main piece of energy, though, is still off to our west. If you look closely here, you'll see the spin right in here. The area of low pressure, our upper level energy coming in, is still in central Missouri, but it will work its way through tonight as far as things go. There's not a lot that looks like it's there, but I still expect the snow to develop as we go through the next few hours here. There's some vorticity in the atmosphere, some good energy up there that's going to help things go. Already starting to see that here across parts of central Illinois. This is going to be our impacts. We'll show you future track here in a second. I've got low to medium impacts as far as it goes. Area-wide where we get any snow, some slick spots on roadways will be expected. Road crews will be out tonight, unlike the ice storm when we had rain falling and washing off salt and taking that away. If they put down some salt, things should be fine on those interstates, those main thoroughfares. There still will be some slick spots on bridges in particular and on elevated surfaces. I have highlighted a zone here, and I said this a lot yesterday and the day before. Highway 54 corridor, that runs from the State Fair in Springfield up to Clinton to Gibson City to Onarga. Along and north of that is where we had those higher ice amounts. We're expecting tonight to be, while a little snow, it will be a heavy wet snow that falls. That will likely stick to trees that have ice on them. It's a great way for that to happen. That ice will act like glue. You'll get some snow to form in that. You can imagine where this is going. More weight on those trees that are still held down. We didn't get any melting in some of these areas today. Gibson City, some folks in Fisher I saw in the comments were saying they had a little ice on trees. If you've got a little ice on trees, a little bit, you're fine. If you're looking at your trees and thinking, oh, they didn't do really good today, that's where we may be taking care of things as far as it goes and having to watch a little extra through tonight. But still, we think the roads will be overall manageable. If you're thinking interstates, just take it slow, watch those bridges, but I'm guessing that road crews are going to be taking care of things, no problem here. They can treat things tonight. This will be a snow event where those main thoroughfares will be okay. If we have a little bit of snow on elevated surfaces, that may ice up a little bit. Our freezing fog, we'll talk more about that here coming up after the snow. So we'll watch it all and take a look and keep you updated on here, social media, on our app, and during our news shows at 10 o'clock tonight. Let's talk about some of these advisories, watches, and warnings. We do have a dense fog advisory till noon tomorrow, and a lot of you have had some mist and fog today. Dense fog is expected to develop and redevelop, and we may see some area-wide, though we're areas that had that ice storm. The higher impacts from ice are under that advisory until 12 p.m. That's going to include areas from Pontiac, Fairbury, Forest, to Bloomington, Downs, down to McLean. You've got Atlanta, Lincoln, into Springfield, Sherman, down to Auburn, Pawnee, over towards Jacksonville. Some of that fog may freeze overnight tonight. I'll tell you a little bit here more about that in a second. So the temperatures is what we've got to look at. And so we'll watch that now. The freezing line also will be important for our snowfall. And so we'll be right at freezing right now in most of the area, already below freezing in Jacksonville and Bloomington, sitting at freezing in Watseka, Pontiac, Springfield, and Taylorville, a degree above in Champaign, Danville, and Decatur. We'll be dropping a degree or two in the next hour or so, and that will help to get the snow to stick on some surfaces before all is said and done. Here's what we're going to look at for those lows tonight. For road conditions, you start to have some problems on untreated roadways at 32, but you really start to have some problems on 29. So we're more thinking those rural roads, roads that will take time to get some salt or that plow, or maybe they won't even hit tonight. 28 in Bloomington, 29 in Clinton, Champaign down to 29, still 31 in Danville. So things would probably be okay south of Danville as far as it goes. Litchfield 28, Springfield 27, Beardstown down to 23, 26 in Petersburg. You start to get in those mid to low 20s, and the fog that will be in those areas too is the freezing fog we're talking about. Down here, though, Charleston, Green up at 30, 31 in Marshall, 31 in Newton for our lows tonight. Here's future track. Let's talk it out. And as far as it goes, this is at 10 o'clock tonight. 10 o'clock tonight, we expect that snow band to sit over here. And there will be an area, I think, which has will exceed expectations, will be overzealous as far as our forecast goes, but it will be a small area, and it will be hard to tell what happens. You'll notice, though, the general trend here is north of 70 and south and east, along and south and east of I-55. Right in here, we kind of pivot a little bit and get the low to pass to the south, and that band looks like it will pivot somewhere. I don't want you to look right at Matt 2 to say that's where it's going to be, because I'm not so sure. It may be a little more to the north before all is said and done. 10, 20 miles, all it will take for that band, and it pivots around. If you think the pivot, reminds me always of the show Friends when they're trying to get the couch down the stairs, Ross and whatnot. So that band is going to pivot over parts of central Illinois, which may help to enhance some totals, particularly on I-57 from Champaign to Mattoon, somewhere in that region, maybe down to Effingham into the east. That's what I think it's going to be. But it'll be out of here by 8 o'clock. We'll be finished by tomorrow morning. This is going to be our snowfall forecast map here. We expect an area of 1 to 2 inches between I-70 and I-55 with lesser amounts around that. And that zone of that small zone of greater than 2 inches will be somewhere in that blue area. If I had to place my money on it, and I'm not a betting man, but if I did, I would probably put it somewhere between Decatur, Champaign, Danville, and Mattoon and Paris. Somewhere right in there, that narrow band will pivot of heavier snow, and some folks could get 3, maybe 4 on the table in an isolated spot. That may be a little too high, but this storm may overperform in some localized areas. 1 to 2 inches isn't all that much, but this is probably going to be a little extra important for those areas that have the ice. And there's a slight overlap in that in this zone here. So if you get 1 inch of this heavy, wet snow, and you've got trees that are having problems, that's going to be an issue for things in areas like McLean County, Ford, Iroquois, and Livingston County. Didn't really thaw out much today. There's still a lot of ice up there. A lot less to the south and east. In Champaign, our trees are fine. We were at 33 much of the day. They didn't get that luxury that we did in Champaign-Urbana area. And so that's why we think some trees may have some problems with extra weight on there as far as it goes. I do talk about a heavy, wet snow, heavy and wet in the sense it'll be a good packing snow, but it won't be heavy as in a lot of it. We just think the way the snow crystals will be is they'll be very, very big, fat, and large. Almost maybe sometimes I think maybe we see some silver dollar sized ones come down with this particular atmospheric profile. Thankfully, this is a quick moving system, so we don't anticipate a lot of it, but we're interested in seeing what happens as far as it goes. That's what I got for you as far as the forecast here. We're going to talk more about it, time it out again, and talk about things on the WCIA 3 News at 10 o'clock. That's in an hour and 35 from now. I hope you'll join me then. Jen and I always have lots of fun. We've got our Springfield reporter, Cole Henke. He's going to be out in it. We're sending him out and saying, hey, Cole, go tell us what's up. He's our eyes in the sky as far as it goes. And then we'll have updates as far as what we expect. So that's what I got for you. I will say I'm going to check the comments for questions. We'll talk about things. I already had a message. Someone said, it's not going to snow. There's nothing on the radar. Yeah, that's what we expect. The snow is going to develop as this upper level energy comes overhead. And we've been in drizzly moisture all day, so there's plenty of moisture to work with to get snow crystals to generate up as far as it goes. So 1 to 2 inches, it's not a lot. The road's probably going to be okay. The ice and trees is probably going to be the biggest impacts here. But tomorrow morning, say 6 a.m. till 10 a.m., if you've got to get up early tomorrow is Sunday, just take a little extra precaution. We always encourage that. We're going to do these digital content, these Facebook Lives for all of these events. This isn't really all that big of an event for us here in Central Illinois, but it is one where we'll have to watch and keep our eyes on things, especially in that overlap coming off of the ice storm. Some folks will see it snowing and they'll freak out. That happens. I get it. We had a wintry mess for many of us yesterday as far as it goes. So that is what we're watching. I do want to mention, too, if you get snow tonight or tomorrow, let us know. Send us a message. We would love to see some pictures. You can send those to us, too, when it happens tomorrow morning. If you're out playing in it, you got a snow measurement. We've got our Weather Watchers program, of course. We really value folks who give us those eyes in the ground because we can't be everywhere at once. We've only got so many sky cams. We've only got so many meteorologists and forecasters here. We've only got so many reporters. But y'all are the eyes in your neighborhoods for us to let us know, hey, we got 2.5 inches, or, oh, you were wrong, we missed it. Happens every once in a while. But I do think we're sitting pretty great on the forecast to meet that 1 to 2 inches as far as it goes from Taylorville, Decatur, Mattoon, Charleston, Paris, Champaign, Danville, and Watseka. To the south and east there, it'll be a quick cutoff, but we still won't rule out a dusting as far as it goes. That I-70 corridor, I think, is the southern edge of it. The northern edge is probably going to be I-55 and whatnot. And then that overperformance, the overzealous system, perhaps, if it beats expectations, get a little higher zone somewhere in east central Illinois, western Indiana. We'll watch and see if that ends up shaking out as far as it goes. That's what I got. We're going to check the comments and answer questions. If not, join us at 10 o'clock tonight. I'll be on tonight. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for the morning show. Then I'm back all tomorrow night, and then I get some vacation time. And finally, you'll see someone else on the TV for the first time in 2021. But an active start for it here. We're all working behind the scenes and taking care of things and updating stories, checking posts, answering questions, and things like that. All right, I'm going to scroll back up a little bit, so make sure I got some of these questions. See what we got here. Still little ice and trees in Fisher. Yeah, the further north you go, the more ice there is. I know Gibson City's pretty icy still. Fisher, Paxton, Buckley, Loda, and whatnot. And some folks last night, too, we expected that zone of snow last night to primarily be along and north of Highway 54, and that overall verified. There were a few spots that missed out, but that snow just added more weight. It stuck to those trees. It made them ice over and was a bit of a nuisance for folks today who were wanting to clean up. Travel Effingham to Indianapolis. Carol, I think you're going to be okay. The snowband really stays north of Indy, and I think the interstates are going to be all right for us here. Carol was asking about travel. If you're traveling early morning from Champaign-Urbana, Bloomington, and you see snow out in the fields, and it looks like there's some spots in the roads, just take it slow. You can never be cautious enough. If you come across a bridge, that'd be where I'm more interested in seeing some of these slick spots develop. I'm also more interested in rural roads. and roads that are less traveled, your side streets, which maybe they don't get through quick enough if they plow, if there's even enough to plow in some of these areas. But those main thoroughfares, crews have been out already and taking care of things and treating and whatnot. What time is this starting for Danville? Danville is to the north and east. It's coming from southwest to northeast. So you'll be one of the last ones to start seeing snow. By midnight, though, I expect snow area wide. Maybe by 10 o'clock, we even start getting some flurries. Some folks have been reporting some flurries as far as it goes. And so, let's see. See if we've got this. I saw some earlier. Rantoul, a little bit. Starting to see a little snow now in Woodland. That's in Iroquois County. Julie's sending that to us. As far as it goes. Laura, me too. Ready for spring. Totally ready. We got only, 10 more weeks? 11 more weeks? You think about it, a month from now, the little rat in the ground tells us if we've got 6 more weeks of winter or if we've got an early spring. The groundhog, fine. I won't call it a rat. What else? Rantoul trees still have ice, and not surprised by that. And some trees out there. Sounds like Savoy is in trouble. We're not in trouble from this event necessarily. You know, our concern is more with those trees. If there's some weight on trees causing more branches to come down, we could get a quick burst of snow. We get 1 to 2 inch snow events all the time. We get in trouble in Illinois. First off, Mississippi down there, Alabama, I've got some folks that have been checking in from there. You get an inch of snow, and it's pandemonium down there. Here, we handle it. It's good. This would, I guess, really be our second sticking snow event, but coming off of an ice storm, I know people are probably a little freaked out in some of those areas higher hit. Tina says it's been lightly snowing in Rantoul. We appreciate your report, Tina. Amy, don't lose your mind, drivers. You can do this. Yeah, right. We did have a number of accident reports in the ice storm, and mainly to our north and west. There wasn't a whole lot in our area. We kind of clipped the edge of that worst ice. It was more Lincoln, Bloomington, Ford County, Iroquois County. We still had some in Champaign and had some of those slick spots. This is what my mother always says. And Peggy's replying to Amy, I'm not worried about myself, it's the other drivers. I have heard that phrase many times from Mama Dickey as far as it goes. Yeah, Nathan, this will be a heavy, wet snow. It will be heavy and wet in a sense of how the snowflake is formed, but it will not be heavy as in a lot of snow. I want to clarify that. We measure snow in ratios. Usually for every inch of water, you can generate 10 inches of snow. This is probably going to be, instead of a 10 to 1, I'm thinking more of an 8 to 1, maybe a 9 to 1, maybe even a little lower than that. So the snow will have a lot of water within it. And so it's usually harder to accumulate a lot in those types of events. But when we've got ice and trees and we've got a lot of waterlogged snow, that's when we can have trouble. Your events where we have your higher snow ratios, 20 to 1, 15 to 1, that's when you can start to accumulate snow more often. That's a drier snow, more powdery, but it can add up quicker. And you think of some lake effect snow up from Lake Michigan. Those types of snow events can generally be 25 to 1, if not higher. And that's when you really get the snow machines cranking and get some high totals here. So a heavy, wet snow, but not a lot of it, but it will still be enough where if it's heavy and wet and starts to stick to trees and areas that have ice, that's what we're worried about. Peggy's saying there are still people without power here in Bloomington. I believe it. And I'm going to pull up the power outage chart here real quick to see what the latest numbers are. I'll read them off to you. It looks a lot better, but you're right. 1,200 still in McLean County. DeWitt County only 12. Logan County only 2. Looks like most spots in central Illinois are good. Tazewell County has 800. Woodford County has 2,000. There's 2,500 still out in the state. I would expect that number to creep up a little bit tonight, especially if we can overlap that heavier snow in areas that have ice. So there's a narrow zone of where that's the case. Knock down a tree, takes down a power line, you've got a neighborhood out just like that as far as it goes. What time does the snow start? It's already starting in parts of central Illinois here. And let me pop the map full screen. I'll pull up the radar real quick for you to give you another idea here of what we're seeing. The radar will start to see snow develop, and rather quickly, I think, as far as it goes. You'll notice that in the last hour and a half, you start to see that snow band start to pick up here. Mason County, down by Havana, up towards Virginia, down towards the I-72 Illinois River Bridge. That band, even into Springfield, will be picking up as we go on through. Wendy, I'll take one, and then I'm done. This is my second ice storm that we have dealt with this year, though. I had a big ice storm in Oklahoma when I was down there as the acting chief in southwest Oklahoma. I'm done with ice. I want a clean snow event, and I want a lot of snow, and then I want spring. Anyone else? Anyone? Maybe? We need lots of snow first. Jennifer also saying that, yeah. So some folks want a big snow, and then we want spring. Seems like the general consensus. Snowing hard an hour ago in Paris. That's a great point for this here. You'll notice that radar never really picked up on anything in Edgar County for Paris area, but people are reporting snow. We've got that shallow moisture in place, and that's been generating some snow that even radar not totally picking up on. It's kind of a little sneaky in the way things are. When you have a mist or drizzle, that's a shallow layer at the surface, and that's what we expect with especially some of the fog to develop here later on tonight. Ice already on trees and property in Champaign. They're bending. Yep, I believe it. Loda, the same thing. Report coming from there. Still ice on our trees and some limbs falling. Loda, one of our floor directors, our production staff, lives up in Onarga. And they live in Onarga. They drive down. They said Onarga didn't get any snow, but Buckley and Loda did. And so, Sandy, you are probably ready for warmer weather to get rid of the ice in the trees. Joshua says we've lost a few limbs. Yeah, that's something we're looking at as far as it goes. Okay, freezing fog. I've mentioned this a couple times here, and a couple people have added a question. Freezing fog, all it is fog that forms when temperatures are below 32, and that's going to happen in some spots tonight. When that happens, the moisture that's in there can stick to surfaces and add an extra glaze. So if we had a clear day, no snow, no ice, nothing, you would sometimes see there's a little bit of a glisten on the trees in the morning sun after a freezing fog event. That very fine condensation, though, can also cause a bit of a glaze on elevated roads like bridges or on side streets, things like that. It's not a whole lot, but it's enough where you get some very light black ice in a few spots. People are caught off guard. And so that's something that we'll watch. We'll have temperatures below 32 in a lot of spots. And we'll have, let's see what graphic I got to pull up here. We'll have temperatures below 32, and we may have some of that dense fog. This would probably be where it's more than likely at, but still, there'll be some reduced visibilities out in central Illinois. The snow, though, is mostly what the rest of us are going to do. Major roads be cleared by 9 a.m. Yeah, Linda, I think we're going to be fine in those major roads as far as it goes. By 9 a.m. Yep, Courtney's saying was on her way home from Bellflower from Monticello through northern Piatt County, hit snow when they got to Mansfield. When do you think it'll be in Danville? Danville's probably going to be by 10, 11, 12 o'clock when it starts. It will fall probably pretty light, but the snowflakes I expect will be a little larger in size in spots. And we'll get a good inch or two in spots between, probably along that 72 quarter from Decatur to the east is a great way to say that. Yeah, Candace is saying about that freezing fog, it's like frost. When it's on your car windows, you scrape it off. That's exactly right. That's a great way to envision it here. A lot of times in your car, you've got some morning frost. If it's a clear sky, you get frost. But when you have freezing fog, it's cloudy looking. Normally, it looks just like fog. But if the temperature in your car is below 32, then technically it's freezing fog, and we'll have very, very light amounts of ice that will start to form on parked cars. You're driving, you'll be fine as far as ice forming on your windshield. Ice may be forming on some bridges, some overpasses, and things like that. All right, folks, that looks like we got all the questions that we have. So again, that dense fog advisory, we're having another full update at 10 o'clock tonight. We really hope you'll join me then. Jen and I always have a great time in the show. Hope you enjoy watching us too. Thanks for checking in with us tonight on our digital platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course our app. I'll give you one last shout. Download the WCIA3 app. We'll keep you updated with this winter weather event. Very minor in nature, but could quickly cause a few problems in some spots. And so we're making sure we look out for all of you. And we'll try and get you a bigger snow event. Those of you want it, those of you want some 70s, we'll try and get that too. We just can't do it all at the same time. Take care. Have a great rest of your night. And remember to connect with WCIA3 for the latest 24/7.